Hello. Today we're doing something a little different. Instead of covering a specific research method, we're going back to basics. How to actually write a great survey. Because every method we could ever talk about depends on getting this right first. By the end of this, you'll know the rules that separate trustworthy data from the kind that quietly misleads you. Let's start with the problem. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Bad surveys give bad data. And bad data doesn't come with a warning label. It looks just like good data. It has numbers, percentages, charts, but it leads you to the wrong conclusions. And you make those decisions with total confidence. The scariest research mistake isn't getting no data. It's getting wrong data and not knowing it. The core idea is simple but easy to underestimate. Your survey is only as good as your questions. Unclear questions, leading questions, confusing questions, they all produce answers that feel real but actually reflect your mistakes, not customers' true opinions. Get the questions right, though, and you get data you can genuinely act on. That's what this whole video is about. To make all of this practical, we're going to build a real survey from scratch. Our scenario: Slice is a pizza restaurant that wants to understand what customers love, what they don't, and what to improve. We'll walk through every step: goal, screener, questions, order, length, and by the end, we'll have a complete survey ready to go. Step 1. And this comes before you write a single question. Know exactly what decision this survey will help you make. A vague goal produces a vague survey. If you don't know what you're deciding, you don't know what to ask. For Slice, the goal is clear. Find out what drives customer satisfaction and what most needs improving. Every question we write should connect back to that. If a question doesn't serve that goal, it doesn't belong in the survey. Before the real questions, you need to make sure you're talking to the right people. That's what a screener does. It's one or two questions at the very start that filter the right respondents in and everyone else out. For Slice, the screener is simple. Have you visited a pizza restaurant in the last 30 days? If they say no, the survey ends. Their opinion isn't relevant. If they say yes, they continue. It sounds basic, but skipping this step means you end up with data from people who've never experienced what you're asking about. Before we start writing questions, it helps to know the two main types. Closed questions ask people to pick from options: yes or no, a rating, a multiple choice answer. They're easy to count and compare across hundreds of people. Open questions ask for free text answers, whatever the person wants to say. They're richer and more revealing, but harder to analyze at scale. The rule of thumb: use closed questions for your main ratings so you get clean numbers. Then use open questions for the why behind them. Step 3 is picking your rating scale and then sticking to it. You've got several common options: a simple yes/no for binary questions, a 5-point satisfaction scale from poor to excellent for everyday ratings, a 7-point scale if you want more sensitivity in the middle, or a 0 to 10 scale for things like recommendation questions. Whichever you pick, 2 rules. Label both endpoints clearly so people know what the numbers mean, and use one scale consistently throughout the survey so everything stays comparable. Now the heart of it, writing the actual questions. Most bad survey questions fall into one of 3 traps: leading questions, which push people toward an answer, loaded questions, which sneak in an assumption, and double-barreled questions, which ask 2 things at once. Any one of these quietly corrupts your data. The next 3 slides go deep on each one, with a bad version and a fixed version so you can see exactly what to watch for. First trap, the leading question. Here's a bad one from Slice. Don't you think our pizza is delicious? See the problem? The phrasing nudges people toward yes before they've even thought about it. The question is doing the work instead of the respondent. The fix is simple. How would you rate the taste of our pizza? Same topic, same information you want, but no nudge, no pressure. Respondents form their own opinion and tell you honestly. Second trap, the loaded question. Here's another Slice example. How often do you enjoy our outstanding service? The word outstanding is already baked in before the person has rated anything. You've told them the answer before they've given it. The fix, how would you rate the quality of our service? Strip out the editorializing entirely. Let people form their own view from scratch. Anytime questions include a judgment word, amazing, great, terrible, poor, check whether it belongs there or whether you're sneaking in an assumption. Third trap, and the trickiest one, the double-barreled question. Example, how would you rate our food and service? The problem is you don't know which one they're answering. Someone might love the food and hate the service, but they're forced into one rating for both. The data is worthless. The fix is just to split it into two separate questions, one for food, one for service. A simple rule that catches this almost every time. If your question contains the word and, check whether it's actually asking two things. If it is, split it. Step 5 is question order, and it matters more than most people realize. Questions earlier in a survey can prime how people answer ones that come later. So follow this sequence. Start broad and easy, like visit frequency and general impressions to warm people up. Then go specific with your detailed ratings. Then open-ended questions, since people answer them more thoughtfully once they've already engaged with the topic. And demographics, age, income, households, always go last. Nobody wants to start a survey by handing over personal information. Let's put the Slice survey together in order. First, the screener. Have you visited a pizza restaurant in the last 30 days? Then the warm-up. How often do you visit Slice? Then the main ratings, each on a 5-point scale. Food quality, service, value, and atmosphere. Then the open end. What one thing would most improve your experience? And finally, demographics, age and household size. Short, clear, and in the right order. That's the whole survey. Step 6 is about discipline. Only ask what you'll actually use. Every extra question costs you completion rate. The longer the survey, the more people abandon it halfway through. So before any question makes the final cut, apply the so what test. Ask yourself, if people answer this, what would I do differently? If you can't answer that, cut the question. A good benchmark is keeping the whole survey under 10 minutes to complete. When in doubt, take it out. One last step that gets skipped more than any other test. Test the survey before it goes wide. Run it with 5 to 10 people first and watch how they react. Do they hesitate on any question? Do they reread something twice? Do they skip anything? Is there a question that takes way longer than expected? Fix those things before you send it to hundreds of people. One small pilot test catches problems you can't see from the inside because you know too much about what you meant to ask. Let's zoom out for a moment and be honest about what surveys can and can't do. The strengths? They're scalable. You can reach hundreds of people at once. The results are quantifiable and easy to compare, and you can run the same survey repeatedly to track changes over time. But the limitations are real. A survey can only find what you thought to ask about. It can't probe the way a conversation can. and is subject to response bias, sometimes called social desirability, where people say what sounds good rather than what's actually true. So surveys are powerful, but they only capture what you had the wisdom to include. 6 rules to take with you. Start with a clear goal. Every question should connect back to the decision you're trying to make. Screen for the right respondents before the real questions begin. Write clean, neutral questions that don't lead or load or double barrel. Get the order right. Broad to specific, demographics last. Keep it short and cut anything you won't actually use. And always test before you launch. Follow those 6 and you'll get data you can trust. Thank you for watching.